Welcome to the Secret Sex Lives of Muslim Women. I'm your host, Salma Hindi. Last episode, we put a call out to the queer gay community, and today God delivered, and we have our first ever Muslim man on the podcast. Everybody, please welcome Tarek Ziad. Woo! Hell yeah. Hell yeah. In his full mask form, by the way.
Yeah, I'm doing trade today, so it's fine.
Tarek is an Afro-Arab actor, writer, and comedian from Central Florida. He trained at Yale University and can now be seen at UCB, The Groundlings, and Just for Laughs. He's also a stand-up comedian, which is how we met. Tarek, welcome to the pod.
Hey.
So happy to have you here.
I know, it's in this cute room.
Right?
This room is adorable.
This is my version of a living room if I could afford a house.
Yeah, it gives kind of, it's the Muslim woman version of a man cave, a little bit.
Yeah, oh my God, a woman cave.
It's a woman cave.
Yeah, you're so right. So you're a comedian, you're a performer.
Mm-hmm.
You are Moroccan by ethnicity.
Yeah, or nationality, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say Moroccan by nationality. It's weird. I guess you could say Moroccan is an ethnicity, but more centrally, I would say my ethnicity is Amazigh or Berber.
Berber, okay.
So indigenous North Africa.
Right. Tell me everything. Tell me about your story. When did you know you were gay?
Totally, yeah. And I'll say like queer just to be a bit more like expansive. I feel like gay is so singular and oppressive. No, it's you can call yourself whatever you want. I just say queer.
Okay.
Yeah, when did I know? I knew, I think subconsciously when I was a kid, and then I didn't really contend with it, I think, until...
Like how old? How old are we talking?
Yeah.
And what's the first sign?
I
need to be in your body. Yeah, I need to experience it with you.
Whoa. Okay, I would say that in elementary school, because I grew up in Florida, we would do swim camp, basically. Like after school swim is what it would be. In the last half of the school year, we would get to go to the public pool and practice our swimming. We did swim lessons every other day. And I think when we would go to the pool and all change into our swim shorts, I was like, now what is going on with everybody else's bodies? Not just mine, not just the girls, just the guys. I'm sort of looking at everybody's body and thinking, that's fascinating to me.
Right.
But I had no language for it because, like, more than being, like, oppressive of, like, sexual fluidity or, like, a broad spectrum of sexual identity, my household was just, like, oppressive and repressive of sexuality in general.
Right.
As many people can relate to.
Totally.
Before I was ever having to contend with or argue with my parents about my queerness, I was having to contend with and argue with them about the fact that I would go to like a birthday party on the beach with my friends in middle school. And when we would all pose for a group photo in our swimsuits, putting our arms around each other's shoulders as friends do, if there happened to be a girl next to me and my arms were like on her like unclothed shoulders, I was getting a talking to, for touching the skin of a woman, at, mind you, the age of 12, so yeah, I was like, I wasn't really doing too much thinking about what my sexuality might be because I wasn't thinking about sexuality.
So you're 12. Okay, so paint me a picture of your life. You grew up in Central Florida.
Yeah.
Your family's clearly religious. I'm just going to be straight up right now. If my brother was caught in a photo with his arm around a girl, he would have gotten beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. not just talk to beat.
Yeah.
And we all would have been like, how could you do that? Because like, we know what, what the punishment is.
Yeah. No, I would say same.
Yeah.
Okay. Both of my parents immigrated from Morocco. My dad is from Casa, so Casablanca. To make it white, Casablanca, as seen in the hit movie starring Ingrid Bergman. The amount of old white people I meet who find out I'm from Morocco and go, "Have you seen Casablanca?"
Oh my God.
Shut the fuck up. Can we curse? No, we can curse.
Yeah, you can say anything. Are you joking?
Women. So both my parents immigrated. My dad is from Casa, but my mom is from a really small village in like the desert in the mountains, like less than 300 people probably at the height of it, like truly born to like worship God, have a family, teach your kids to worship God,
Right.
die, return to God.
Right.
All of you as a unit.
Right.
That is the entire purpose of being alive.
Right.
And everything else is kind of filler. Obviously, like do good onto others, like be respectful, blah, blah, blah. But like this is a test for the eternal hereafter.
Yeah.
And we have a clear guideline and rule book. And bitch, you better follow it.
You better.
So that was my upbringing.
Right.
And it didn't matter that we were now in Florida, in America, like going to primarily white schools
Right.
and primarily white neighborhoods. Like my parents stuck to that shit.
And how many siblings?
So I'm the oldest of 4 boys.
Okay.
And it's extremely fucked up because I am 5'9" and queer, and all of my younger brothers are 6'1" and straight.
I'm dead.
Yeah. How the fuck something happened there?
Right.
Because I'm the way I am and they're all the way they are.
And what's you, if you don't mind me asking, well, we'll get into this.
Yeah,
but
no,
what's your
go ahead.
relationship like with your siblings?
Yeah, the way I describe it is that we are fairly close, or as close as we could be, given the fact that like we grew up in a pretty strict and like violent household that made us pretty strict and violent with each other.
Yeah.
And then I, as the oldest, had to disappear for a couple of years when I came out and my parents disowned me. So like by cutting off contact with my parents, I pretty much also cut off contact with my brothers. Mm-hmm. So like given our childhoods and then given where I had to go off during their like adolescence, there's a lot of distance there. We don't talk all the time, but we love each other and they're totally accepting. And so I think I'm very thankful for that, and definitely carry guilt, I think, in some amount every day of like not being a more present older brother. But I try to remember that life is long and I could tap back in at any moment.
Right. Honestly, it's both healing but difficult to hear you speak, because I, as someone who has very similar experience with disownment and also the family structure, it sounds like the household, it's like you're putting into words a lot of things that I couldn't before. Yeah, like the most painful part of my disownment is that I stopped being an aunt after that's like my whole life.
My God.
I have 17 nieces and nephews. My oldest nephew is 28. I didn't go to his wedding. My other niece is getting married. I'm missing her wedding. My third niece basically stopped talking to me. They're all in their 20s. My fourth niece hates my fucking guts because her father's like my number one emotional abuser growing up.
Wait, so it was bad between your siblings too, not just with your parents?
With my oldest sibling, my oldest sister, and my oldest brother have had me blocked on WhatsApp for like 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, even more so than my parents. They resent me because I'm living their dream.
Wait, wow. Just because of your lifestyle, not because of like anything like truly that happened between the two of you?
Well, I guess my oldest sister, there was an incident where her husband is very fucking abusive, and I one time saw him like verbally abusing one of my nephews at like a dinner, and I was complaining about it to my therapist. This was a few years ago before I left Toronto, and I was ranting to my therapist about how it was very triggering to see him like take out all that anger on my nephew, who was only 13 at the time.
Yeah.
And and like it felt like abuse, and none of us could do anything. We're all powerless. And then she said, baby girl, that's a minor experiencing abuse. I'm going to have to call it in. So she reported them.
What state was this in?
This is in Toronto.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And it was so crazy. Basically, child services came and spoke to all the kids. And then at that point, it was kind of like, who did this? They were on a witch hunt. Like, we will basically kill you. And instead of me saying, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean for that to happen, which is kind of the truth, I doubled down. I stood up to him and I said, you've been abusing me since I was a fucking child, since I was like 7.
Yeah.
And I basically wrote out all the major incidences where he like kicked me out of his home and all these like crazy things. And I said, like, you know, now you're doing it to your kids, and I want them to know like what is right and wrong and what is abuse. And so child services came and spoke to them and split them apart because there are a lot of children. Like two at a time, oldest, youngest, whatever.
Totally.
And then they sat with the nephew in question who was verbally abused, and he just literally talked their ear off. My other nephew was like, child services was going to call child services on themselves. He just kept talking. That event for sure permanently changed things between me and my oldest sister, but we were, oh my God, it was a lifetime of hell. It was literally a lifetime of hell. And she was like my mom. Like, it was not, she didn't have a small role in my life. But yeah, after that, like, I wasn't allowed to see my nephews, and they have gone through puberty and I don't even know what they look like. And it's insane. Like, my hope, and this episode means so much to me, Tarek, because I know some of my nieces and nephews are going to be queer.
Yeah.
Of course. And
whether they engage with it or not.
Whether they engage with it or not. Last time I saw my dad. So my dad keeps doing this thing after I took the hijab off and started, you know, like whatever, dressing scandalously. This was once I started posting about sex. That's what made my family cut me off. People think it's the hijab. It was yes and no. My dad soft cut me off. He's the only one who cut me off for a year when I took the hijab off. The rest of my family was fighting with him. Even my sister, my oldest one, everybody was telling him like, give her a chance, whatever. It was when I started posting about being sexually active on stage, talking about that on stage, when I started posting that online, my dad told me he stayed up all night vomiting when he saw that I posted about losing my virginity. My sisters freaked the fuck out when I talked about masturbation. And then that's when everything really fell apart. My dad, he always does this thing where he'll be like, okay, let's just agree that the gays are going to hell. Okay. Let's just have one thing in common. Okay. So,
that's awesome.
And then I know. And then I'm like, Dad, no, because for his whole life, he was so afraid that I was gay, that I was lesbian, because I didn't like any of them. And he would bring me, because I didn't even sexualize myself. I was disgusted of myself and everyone else who could possibly like me.
That's the thing. The way that they raise children like completely warps their ideas of themselves, of sexuality,
of our self-worth.
It stunts your development.
Yes. How can I imagine being married to someone if I think I'm the most disgusting creature alive? Like,
and like the evidence is all like so right there in front of you. Like, my father has 12 siblings. I think most of them are divorced.
Right.
They don't know how to be in relationships.
Right.
They don't know how to relate to people or themselves.
They don't even know how to have friendships.
Yes, because all their friendships are formed out of like the mosque or just like a familiar ethnicity or cultural experience that they just kind of latch on to. And it's growing up, my parents had such diverse friends because my father learned English in high school in Casa, but my mom didn't know any English before she came to America with him because my dad is 15 years older than her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. And honestly, props to my mom for that. Like, it's amazing. She came from a village in truly nowhere, no English, didn't know how to drive a car, and now like she speaks English better than my dad. She's an amazing driver, like really successful person, all things considered, regardless of whatever she's done or not done to me or whatever. So it's very admirable. But what I was saying was that they had so many friends from their ESL classes.
Right.
And so they're diverse people, Swedish friend, Brazilian friend, and these are people who I grew up around, and it made their lives so much more enriched, I think. And then I just watched as my younger brothers were born and as they got older, and just all those people fall away, and then replace them all with just people from the mosque, or like some Moroccan who moved down the street. And I asked, I'm like, what do you actually like about this person who you hang out with like every other day, who is like your best friend basically? Like, can you give me like 5 descriptors of her besides the fact that you're both Muslim, Moroccan, and women? Right. Is there like, what do you like about her? Right. They don't even have the language for that because they don't understand those kinds of, or they choose not to value that kind of relationship in their lives.
Yeah.
And it all stems from just how your parents raise you and the culture you're steeped in.
Totally. But it's so interesting because I find myself falling into a lot of those traps, and I'm really struggling with friendship. There's like this homey feeling when you meet an Arab, when you meet like a Muslim, because you're like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about the racism part. I don't have to worry about like the cultural explanation piece. I don't have to worry about all these things. So there's kind of like, especially me, I grew up only around Muslims, only around Arabs, Desis, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So Somalis. So these are the people I feel most comfy with. Whenever I see them, I just really relax. I feel the most resistance and walls up with white straight men specifically, because that demographic was the most out of reach for me, like growing up. So, but then now that I'm shifting and my world's expanding and I'm growing, I'm realizing so many of these cultural friendships that I feel really that I feel really homey in right away. I actually don't like these friendships. They're actually very toxic. They're actually very draining.
Yeah.
They're actually very riddled with scarcity. They're limiting.
Yeah.
And they're controlling. Police, a lot of them. So I'm like, Selma, stop. But my body, like, without even realizing, I'll be texting them. I'll be doing these things to keep them in my life. I have to intervene.
Yeah.
And be like, bitch, you're being manipulative right now. You actually don't even want this.
So, I mean, I think we're all like the process of growing up, the process of like aging is finding the balance and the middle ground from wherever we come at it. Because like I'm kind of having the opposite experience, right? Where I grew up in my core family and then initially going to a primarily black mosque, which I loved so much because also half my mom's family is black.
Okay.
And it was just so rich and culturally welcoming. And I loved that community so much. And then kind of like, so funny. My dad was extremely involved and he found out that the imam was embezzling money and he was like, well, I'm no snitch. So he was just like, we just got to go. So rather than like blow up the whole spot, he was like, I'm going to take my family and we're just going to leave.
Right.
And so then we transitioned to a primarily Arab mosque where I felt
way less fun,
bro. Like
boring.
Not fun at all.
Yeah. It's so serious.
Yes. And the kids sucked. The kids were all like Middle Eastern or Arab Americans in Central Florida. So they were all racist and like appropriating blackness and being weird as hell.
Right.
I didn't relate to them. I was also starting to think a little bit more about the fact that I had some things inside of me that were different from them. So it really estranged me from my religion, from my culture. It was around the same time when my parents and I's relationship was just continuing to get worse, as well as my understanding of my indigeneity was like also deepening. And because whenever I would go to Morocco as a kid, like the first thing whenever I would meet someone is they'd ask if I knew that I was Shalheit, that I was like shluh, like indigenous.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not even Arab. Like,
right.
What are we doing here?
Right.
But now as an adult, I am forming more relationships through stand-up, through acting, the arts in general with other Middle Eastern and North African people.
Right.
And while I actually have a pretty strong language barrier just because not only did I learn all my Arabic from my parents, I learned Darija from my parents, Moroccan Arabic, which is like the most bastardized Arabic in existence, I think. Like, I can't talk to anybody.
Oh, I forget about it with me. Forget about it. I'm not even going to be able to.
It's Darija is like messed up from the indigenous languages effects, French effects, probably some Spanish, like. And mind you, I think it's the better version of Arabic. I think it's prettier and I think it's nicer.
I mean, it does seem more, how do I say this? Like, it's like a superior version, like a jam-packed with...
It's kind of sexy.
Yeah, it's very
sexy.
It's
softer but
I can't.
useless.
I had Berber Algerian roommates and I just could not for the life of me understand them.
Yeah, Algeria, like Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia have a similar thing going on.
Yeah.
Everywhere, maybe Libya, everywhere else is a mess.
Yeah. It's so funny. Can we talk about being North African, by the way? Because I'm Egyptian, which literally is in North Africa. It is North Africa, okay? Yeah. I am North African. Try saying you're North African as an Egyptian in front of an Algerian or a Moroccan or a Tunisian. They will rip you to shreds. They will be like, shut the fuck up. Like the most maybe Libyan, maybe they'll accept the Libyans because Libyans are, there are only 6 million of them, so little. As soon as you mention Egypt, they're like, fuck off, you whore.
Which is so funny because they're probably not engaging with their colonial roots. I mean, my whole experience of whenever Morocco is in the World Cup is people are like, yeah, Morocco taking on their colonizer, they're beating Spain, they're beating Italy, like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so we've made like to step 1 of discourse. Now, like if we go to step 2, you might understand that Morocco is a colonized body from Arabs and Spaniards.
Right.
And like, we were indigenous there first, but like, I mean, people are barely understanding American indigeneity. Like, how am I going to get them to know what the fuck I'm talking about,
Yeah. But I mean, my hot take is that if you explain it that way, it might be clearer to see it globally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's something that I've started. First, I will say that it's a huge honor to be on this podcast because I feel extremely close to, I guess not literally the women in my family, but conceptually the women in my family. I grew up with my mom's mom in the home who would come from Morocco to seek like medical treatment because she was extremely ill, which is often the case when you grow up in a village of less than 200 people that's been around for a while. There's some stuff, the health isn't great.
Right.
But she was getting medical treatment, but she was truly indigenous. Like she didn't speak Arabic, she didn't speak English or French. She only spoke the indigenous language, and I don't speak it.
Right.
Because my parents were just trying to teach us Arabic, in Florida, doing the best they could with that. So they just never got around to it. And it's a dying language and whatever. Point is, I felt so close to her in a way beyond language. And now as I come into adulthood, I'm like trying to get more in touch with my indigenous background and culture. And a big part of indigeneity globally is a tradition of tattoos, particularly facial tattoos.
Yes. I was telling someone this the other day at the Stand Comedy Club. And I was trying to show her like Berber face tattoos.
Yes, because I draw.
And
oh my God.
I Google it, and all that comes up is like, because they're older women, because it's like an older tradition. So it's like 90-year-old women with the tattoos. And she's like, you think I look like that? I was like, no, I'm just showing you like it's an older culture, but it's like her tattoo on her hands reminded me of the Berber symbol.
No, exactly. Because so my mom's generation is the first generation of women in my family who don't have the face tattoos.
Okay.
All my grandmothers did, all my great aunts, because it's
pictures of them.
Yeah, I do, because it's a pre-Islamic tradition, right? Islam comes into these cultures and is like, your body belongs to God. You can't do anything with it, and so slowly these traditions fade away.
Right.
But in wanting to feel closer to my grandmother and my great aunt, and also kind of engaging with my queerness through this lens of gender, because the facial tattoos are traditionally for women.
Right.
Men get some tattoos, but mostly on their hands and arms and legs.
Right.
But I, as a queer man, feel very close to obviously femininity in these ways. And so, but also as an actor, I cannot have a face tattoo.
Right.
So
I know.
Yeah. So now for special occasions, though, I draw it on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So sometimes when I go out on like a weekend night, I'll draw it on, and
it's like putting on a bindi.
Yes, exactly.
Or like a temp nose ring or something.
Yeah. And the conversations that it prompts are so cool, because initially people often think, whether they are indigenous or not, from wherever in the world, they ask me if I'm like indigenous American or like Maori from like Australia, right? And then I get the opportunity to explain to them that actually like indigenous cultures all over the world have this rich history of facial tattoos, and that's so cool and so uniting. And when I do meet another indigenous person who has face tattoos, because
the world explodes.
The world explodes. We have like an amazing time. And it's so cool because I think the culture is, it's been more vocal for a longer time here in North America, in the States and in Canada, where younger people are like reclaiming their traditions. So I'm meeting more younger people like of Inuit or Native American descent who have their face tattoos, and the connection is so cool.
Wow.
It's so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
and you're
I'm so
representing like it's more than just representing your, like you said, let's say you're the government, the borders as we know them, the country as we know it now, Morocco, you're representing your indigenous tribe, which is so cool because think of how much history immediately you're bridging the gap between, you know, to just wear it. It's like this skipped a generation and now it's back, baby.
Yeah.
It's back on my face.
And one day I'll get the real tattoo, you know, we'll see. Either I'm like so extreme.
When you're a director, you're overacting.
No, I'll never be overacting.
Well, then you'll just whatever, cover it up.
Yeah, one day when I'm like successful enough to be offer only,
right,
and have everybody on the creative team agree that they'll simply cover it up.
This is like your massive coming out journey. I want to know everything.
Yeah, totally.
So I was saying how, with my dad. So the last time I talked to him, and he was like, "Okay, let's just agree that we hate the gays, right?" And then I was like, "Dad, I'm not gonna do that." And he's like going on and on, like, "Come on." And then I turn around and I go, Why are you so obsessed with hating the gays? I was like, why are you so obsessed with hating gay people? I was like, you know, in my experience, the men who hate gay people most vocally are the first ones who ask their wives to do anal. And then he goes, ah! He's like, intimate uliye! Like, what are you saying? And then I was like, I'm just telling you, Imam. I've seen things you haven't seen. I'm hearing from my girlfriends. I had a girlfriend, Palestinian woman. Okay, we went to university together. Hijabi, everything. She married a guy. He fucked her once. She had a baby. That's it. Never fucked her again. You're telling me this man is not gay? Obviously. Like, it was very clear, but like he and then she just had to kind of like sit in that marriage. Anyway, so I tell my dad this, and then I go, excuse me, sir, you're an engineer. My dad is a fucking genius. People don't even know this about him. Genius. Finished his master's and PhD in civil engineering in Canada in 3 years.
Wow.
It took me 3 years to finish my master's alone.
Yeah.
He did his PhD, which takes people like 5-7 years.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, and back then they didn't have the internet. His profs would go to Japan and photocopy books for him and bring it back and shit. Like stuff like that.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So my dad, I was like, you're an engineer. Statistically, what are the chances that all 17 of your grandchildren are going to be straight?
Right.
He goes, he's like, which means like you're cursing them, you're praying against them. I was like, I'm just simply reporting the stats.
Yeah.
And I was like, and where do you think they're gonna go? They're gonna come into Auntie Salma's arms. Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah.
It's so important because like my whole coming out experience is very complicated. Basically, where do we even begin? I've written about this. Literally, I've written essays about this. But basically,
so you knew from an early age. Can I ask you personally, when did you start exploring?
Yeah. Okay. So here's what happened. I was figuring out. I went to college. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I was at Yale, obviously, very queer place, very gay place, and like that's a stereotype that people say. It's real. Like, everybody there's gay, all of them. They have like this saying that's like 1 in 4, maybe more, 1 in 3, maybe me, 1 in 2, maybe you. I think.
Right.
1 in 1, let's have some fun. I think I added that last one.
I'm dead. What does that even mean? Everyone's gay.
It's an extremely queer, like culturally queer place. I think, I don't know how it started or how that latched on historically. I mean, truly the way I would describe Yale is it's like very Jewish and very gay.
Right.
And I think it's like maybe a culture of like relaxed, liberal artsy vibes. It's a very easy school to like actually be in. Obviously getting in is hard, but like academically it's very chill. Like the social life was fun.
Is Yale here, by the way? Where the hell is Yale?
So valid. Connecticut. When I got in, when I told my parents I got into Yale, they were like, what is that? And I said, it's like Harvard. And they were like, who's paying for that? And I said it was free. And they were like, okay, and where is it? And I said, Connecticut. And then they were like, where is that?
Yeah, that's so funny. Literally.
So it's on the Metro North. You can get there in 2 hours from Grand Central.
It's closed.
But I went there and people would be like, so you're gay, right? And I would be like, no, I totally get why you say that. Like,
Really?
Yeah. And I would go into this whole thing where I was like, I know I sound a little gay and it makes sense, but I'm actually not. And like, no shade to that even a little bit. And I was saying that like so convincingly.
And how old are you at this point? 20?
Well, I guess you're like 18, right? 18. You're 18 when you start college. So I was saying that extremely convincingly, and to a point where people really did believe me and would say it to other people, and it was like this whole thing.
Right.
And I do identify as queer because I'm bi, basically, is the situation. More on that later.
Yes.
But I was starting to see women, and I had some bad experiences just in the way that like when you're first becoming sexually active, you have bad experience. Like, it's not good. It's strange, you know?
You're figuring it out.
Yeah. And so coming from like a sexually like repressive and oppressive background.
Lots of shame.
So I had some funny experiences with women. I like really liked this girl, and this is so ironic, and like asked her out, and there was this whole thing, and then she ended up being gay. She ended up being a whole lesbian. So there was that. And then
you were like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah. And it was so funny. And shout out to her if she ever sees this. Awesome person.
We're happy for you, by the way.
Extremely happy for you.
Yeah.
And then my freshman year, I was doing theater and I was in a play, and there was an older gay student who then kind of started sexually harassing me.
Oh, shit.
And so coupled with the like shame and weird vibe that I felt with my experience with a woman, and then this like really bad experience with a guy sort of being interested in me and I wasn't interested.
Right.
That was my freshman year. I was like, okay, I actually don't need to be sexually active at all. I don't need to do any of this.
Right.
Let me get my money up.
Right. You said I'm celibate now.
Yes.
That's me. That's the phase I'm in right now.
Yeah.
I said, let me run away and hide and build my life.
And I think it's like a common response. But so my sophomore year, I was celibate, basically.
Okay.
And then the summer after my sophomore year, I like was like, oh, you know, I'm kind of lonely. I would love a relationship of any kind, physical touch from truly anyone.
Right.
And then things started happening, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And so then I was like...
So you started exploring with men for the first time.
Yeah, and I decided to not come out in any way at all. I was like, this is dumb, and I don't need to do that.
Right.
Like, there was no formal coming out. And I don't think there needed to be because of where I was, because Yale was so queer.
Right.
Like nobody really batted an eye.
Right.
I like did my summer. I went to Japan. I was living in Japan for a big part of that summer also. So I was like exploring that there. And then I came back to campus junior year. I set my Tinder to men and women, and I kind of just let the information spread that way.
Wow, that's how you came out.
Yeah.
On Tinder.
Yes.
Amazing.
And I think many such cases, actually.
Right.
It's very easy if people don't know you're queer and you're in a community like a college campus, all you got to do is set that dating app to that, and the information will travel, and then you're good. You don't have to do anything.
That info will spread. Yeah. Right.
And so that was what happened. And then I lived my junior year, and then the summer of my junior year, at this point I had cut off my parents for a few years. I think for the better part of 3 years of those 3 years of college, I had them blocked. And that was
and you weren't seeing or talking to them?
No. So I was mostly financially independent from my family from around 16, 17.
And how did you do that?
I was working full time at a Publix grocery store.
A grocery store. Okay.
Yeah. So I was working full time at a grocery store, paying for like my transportation, for everything that I needed, mostly. Like my parents, they still supported me and they helped me in the ways that parents are supposed to. But our relationship was so toxic at that point that I was just trying to do as much as I could to put distance and independence from them as young as I could.
Can you tell me like an example of like why did it get so toxic? What was happening? Was it that you were growing up, having more freedom, getting more out of reach, and they were getting like crazier, more controlling?
Yeah, no, totally. So similar to you, my parents believed in corporal punishment, and so they would hit me.
Right.
And my dad specifically, I think, experienced a lot of messed up stuff from his dad.
Yeah.
And that left him with a lot of anger issues and the belief that hitting your kids was normal. Right. And so that basically just resulted in me experiencing like really bad stuff. Right. And then by the time...
could you mind me asking, was he still like hitting you when you were approaching college?
Well, so that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So he was hitting me when I would act out or misbehave. I would say that like my dad didn't, like, my parents never drank, like never. So it's not like it was the kind of experience of like he came home drunk and angry and was just hitting me. It's like,
right.
I was growing up in a toxic household. So I went out into the world as a kid and behaved poorly. I got into fights with other kids. I misbehaved in school.
Right.
Then I came home, and rather than an intellectual disciplining or some sort of like discussion, I was simply hit. Right. But the hitting was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then, being the oldest, being the first to grow up in like America, in like a real, well, I guess my older cousin Miriam sort of is more so the first, but her situation is completely different from mine. I won't speak about it.
Right.
But by the time I was like 13 or 14, basically, I became able to articulate like, hey, if you hit me like that ever again, like, I'm just going to call the cops. I will just snitch, you know, at the end of the day. And simultaneously, I was also behaving better, is what I'll say. You know, like the complicated thing about hitting your kids is that, you know, it's bad, it's damaging, it fucks up your relationship with them, and in some instances, it makes them behave better.
Yeah, you're right.
And that makes it hard for people to let go of the practice. Because at the end of the day, a big part of me getting my shit together was the fact that I didn't want to get hit anymore.
Yeah.
And so you could look at that and say, okay, A to B, we got the results we needed.
Right. No, it's so true. Like, I remember, and nothing is worse than a bratty, annoying kid that's not being hit and getting to experience the freedom of being an absolutely annoying asshole, because none of us got to live that. So back to my nephew, I was an aunt at 6 years old. Okay, he was born on a 6. And my sister, this is a real impression of me at 7 years old, when my sister announced to the whole family that we're going to stop hitting children in this family. I was literally like, what the fuck? What do you mean? It's my turn. I was so mad. Now we're stopping? What? Oh my God.
That is so funny.
And then I had to sit there my whole life. Obviously, I love my nephew, even though I haven't heard from him. He hasn't spoken to me in years.
Yeah.
I had to just watch him as a kid. Just ask a billion, trillion questions. And no one said a fucking thing. And he wanted anything, he got it. He asked anything, he threw tantrums. His parents would get the teachers fired.
Yeah.
Bro, what? But they took it to the other extreme, because now he's very entitled. It can
go to the other extreme. Because these parents don't have the tools to be actually good, effective, balanced parents.
Exactly.
They don't know how to correct in a way that's not overcorrecting and just becoming a bad parent in another way.
Because they don't see you as your own individual human. They see you as an extension of them. Therefore, their ego is directly evoked. It's either I hit you because I won't have my child behave in this way, or it's I get the whole world in trouble because this is my child and you can't say shit. Yeah. It's ego either way.
Yeah, exactly. And so I reached an age where I was like, you can't keep hitting me. And so my younger brothers, they were disciplined by my parents as well, and they all have their own opinions on that, and I won't speak about it at all.
Right.
But I would say objectively, they never really experienced the severity that I did.
Oldest child always gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at that point, you know, the hitting stopped, but we just still kept fighting. I was also grappling with them being like extremely oppressive of me socially, you know, not getting to do the things that all the other kids were doing, which is a classic immigrant thing, right? No sleepovers, really. Like, you know, no late nights. I once went to a party. I think I can count like high school parties that had alcohol at them, like that I went to, maybe on definitely one hand, maybe only 2 fingers, but at one of them, like someone spilled alcohol on me.
Oh shit!
And I didn't even drink that night, and I got in so much trouble because I like came home and I threw it in the wash, and I didn't actually, or I started it, but the smell of alcohol lingered, and my mom was like, the next morning,
that doesn't enter the fucking house.
Yeah, you literally throw it away.
Yeah. No, literally enter your house naked and be like, I peed myself in the car. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was like at that point I felt so distant from them. But basically our relationship just became more and more toxic because not only was I like, you need to stop treating me like this, I want you to apologize.
Wow.
And I guess that really kicked in when I went away to college. I would say in high school, I was still just like fighting with my dad all the time. And my mom, being a classic Muslim woman, classic Muslim mother, she just often would side with him even when she knew that he was wrong.
Right.
Because she's like, we're a unit. I need to support him even if I don't agree with him.
Yeah.
And that's,
You're describing exactly my point.
yeah, and it's a huge betrayal to you as a kid who just wants to be treated as an adult,
right.
or not even an adult, a person.
Yeah,
you want to be treated with respect, and
mom is supposed to be safety.
Yeah, and so to see in her eyes that she doesn't agree with what's happening,
right.
but to not hear it come from her mouth is extremely difficult. And then also there would be times where, you know, another thing the mother will do is come to you and be like, your father loves you so much. He tells me at night, like our heads on the pillow, that he's so sad about his relationship with you.
My mom says your dad cries
all the time. I'm like, okay, have him send me a video.
Yeah,
like, prove it, man. No, it's like
it's
crazy. These men's issues.
It's just it's like lack of accountability because it's like he's so sad. Okay, you don't think I'm crying every night?
Yeah.
Do you think it's easy to live with a tsunami of grief that I'm estranged from the two people who brought me into this world?
Yeah.
My own blood ties, my own biological ties. Like, do you know how much of a mindfuck it is that everyone enjoys me except for the people who brought me into this world?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
it's terrible. It makes you calloused. And so I would say my high school experience was fighting with my parents when my dad would be crazy and my mom wouldn't stick up for me.
Right.
Then I went away to college, and when I got into Yale, I got in on a full ride that I made happen on my own, and not even just a full ride. I left that school with like a lot of money, I won't say, but the opposite of debt, honey.
Ooh.
I left with money.
Okay, well, that's a workshop you need to give.
and could.
Right?
And could. But once I knew that I was going away and I was going to be able to support myself, I was like, and I'm so stubborn. I don't know how I came out like this. I mean, honestly, I came out like this probably because my mom is a naturally extremely intelligent woman.
Right.
Like, you can't learn English from scratch at the age of 21 and learn how to drive at the age of 21 and adjust to America without just being extremely intelligent.
Right.
And so that, I think, came to me. And then my dad, he's very artistic, actually, and like has all these impulses. So I think that I got that too.
Right.
But so all that is to say, my parents are totally uneducated, and I graduated from high school as the valedictorian of like over 2000. Like, I don't know how
So you're the first in your family to go through post-secondary.
Yeah. I'm the first in my family to go to college and to graduate. Yeah, I was the valedictorian. I put myself through all this stuff. I was like, okay, I did it. I created the independent life that I want. And now I will only let you in it if we're able to unpack the last like 18 years and we lay out all the facts and you say, that was wrong.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
And they didn't want to. And so we just fought endlessly.
You said it's time to invoice you.
Yes, exactly.
Like emotionally invoice you.
Exactly. And so they didn't want to apologize. They didn't want to engage with any of that discourse. And I told them that, like, for my mental health and my own stability, I need to just not have them in my life until they're ready to. And it was extremely hard and so much crying, like all this stuff. And so, yeah, for the better part of college, like, my parents were blocked totally. And
at that point you also stopped seeing your brothers for a bit.
Yes, yeah, because I went away and they were all still in Florida, and I had these bad relations, and I had a pretty toxic relationship with my second brother as well, as a result of just a bunch of resentment. And he and I, thankfully, have like talked. We've overcome that, and it was very beautiful. Like, something I'm so thankful for because we're so similar, he and I. But except for the fact that he's straight.
Right.
But whatever. They were blocked for most of college, but then there was this thing where my mom could still leave me voicemails on my phone, even though I had her number blocked. So she would send me these crazy voicemails. And then one came the summer after my junior year where she was saying that she was going to hire a private investigator to come to Connecticut, to come to New Haven and prowl around Yale's campus and look for me if I didn't unblock her and tell her about my life and tell her what was going on. And at this point, the biggest thing in my life was the fact that I was queer.
Right.
I was exploring my queerness. So I was like, well, I can't deal with a perp on my back. That sounds crazy. So I unblocked her and I called her and I was like, hey, lady, Like, you want to know what's going on. Ultimately, like, I'm queer. I'm experimenting with men and women, and I'm doing all this stuff. And she freaked out, and she told my dad out of a kind of loneliness, I think, of that experience. She just needed,
a panic, yeah.
Yeah, it was panic. It was loneliness. She needed to confide in someone.
Right.
She regrets the swiftness with which she did that, because then he quickly was like, change your last name. Don't ever come around my family. Like, you need to, you know, da 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 da. And so that was the disownment, and that was like for the next couple of years. But I just want to get back to what you were saying about your nephew, because one of the most impactful things for me was that when I was in high school, part of also the impetus to get that grocery job was that I wanted to have money to travel, because I had an older cousin from France, Simon, who would visit me. And he was like an older brother, kind of, because he came, I think, maybe 3 times to the States and stayed with us.
Right.
And he invited me, just me, to his wedding. He like married this Algerian woman. They now have 2 kids. It's so beautiful. But they invited me, and I wanted to go, so I did. I went to France and Switzerland for like a whole month, like the summer after my like junior year of high school. So I was like 16, whatever. And they loved me so much. And they were like, come visit, come visit. They would always message me on Facebook, come visit, come visit. And then they messaged me after my parents disowned me. And a big part of that, again, was like, don't ever talk to your family. Like, if your extended family finds out you're queer, like, we're going to kill ourselves. Like, basically, like, we'll be so disgraced. It'll be over for us.
Right.
And he messaged me. He was like, hey, how is it? How is life? Like, we'd still love to see you, right? And I told him, basically, I was like, because he asked me about my parents. I was like, hey, like, to be honest, we don't talk. And we're on bad terms. And he was like, why? And I was like, I'm queer. And they told me I can't talk to people and da da da. And my cousin, who is Muslim and who like maybe like 10 years older than me only, but grew up in France, or at least spent a lot of his adolescence in France, but is still very Muslim. He was like, we don't care. Could you come visit? And it was like so beautiful and so meaningful. And he is, to this day, my only extended family besides my cousin Miriam, who I grew up with, who knows that I'm queer.
Wow.
And they don't care. And it's like so meaningful to just know that they exist.
Yeah.
I owe them so much. Like, that really did so much for me.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing when you can do that for your nieces and nephews.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be so amazing when you go also and hopefully start tapping into the queer circles in the MENA region, because let me tell you, Egypt is fucking insane.
Dude.
Fucking wild. I only go to gay parties. I only go to gay clubs.
I can't
And they're
even
like sausage
imagine
parties.
this.
There's one woman, it's me.
Because obviously Morocco, everybody goes to Morocco, right?
Yeah,
and I have friends now who are gay, who are queer, who go to Morocco and then come back and like, oh, I had so much fun. Like, the queer scene's crazy.
Right.
And
Lebanon
I'm like,
too. Fucking insane in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
Because like, first of all, I don't even know any curse words in Arabic. Because everything's from my parents. And you know what I mean? So, and when I would go, I was in Morocco as, you know, a citizen. Like, I was just with my family, and I haven't been since 2016. So I haven't been in as an adult,
right?
You know? And obviously these countries they interface with queer people very differently depending on if they're tourists or if they are locals.
For sure.
It's such a different experience.
For sure.
So that'll surely be a part of it. But I know that there's that community there. And I know that I could go to Morocco and open Grindr and there will be people there.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That's crazy to me. I can't even imagine it. One day it'll happen.
It's so it's so normal, like common and normal. It's just the way that they're slick about it and they hide it. That is that they have to learn, that, you know, Americans don't have to learn, right? Where they hide it from like public facing. But I have gay friends in Egypt. One of them, first of all, my cousin's gay friend, they both live in Berlin. He came to visit when I was in Dahab, Sinai, which is like this little beach town. I love it so much, by the Red Sea and the mountains. Every day we go tan, but sit by the water. On his way to his hotel, he'll be like, just fuck someone. On his way back, he'll be like, just fuck someone, whatever. At the morning, at night, 24/7. The people, like, all the time. And you can visibly see that he's queer because he has like his nipples pierced.
Totally,
he has like he has makeup on. People will react to you. They will fuck you.
It's crazy to me. I mean, what a life. I don't exactly live that life, but that's awesome. I was making content a little bit about being queer and Muslim for like truly 2 months when I decided to make content like a year ago. And I stopped because it makes me feel insane, and maybe I'll get back into it. But back when I was doing that, I would do this stand-up bit about how when I would do those jokes, my DMs would be flooded with men from all over the world. And half of them are going, Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Right.
I don't mean to be too straightforward, but I just wanted to let you know that you are going to hell. And then the other half would be them going, Assalamu alaikum, brother. I don't mean to be too straightforward, but I just want to let you know that you are very sexy, and I'd like to show you my body if you'll allow me.
And I would like to suck
They're
your
the
dick.
same guy.
I was going to say.
It's the same guy.
They're the same. The one telling me you're going to hell, you also want to fuck me.
He's on burner phones and he's working through shit. But no, it was many guys. Many guys. But even more, and I'd be so curious to hear how you engage with this, because I'm trying to figure it out, especially after. So I had an essay about all of this come out. I started getting more people reaching out. And sure, there's like the ones of like, you're going to hell. Or there's the ones who are trying to hit on you.
Right.
And then there's young people who are like, hi, I'm really struggling and I don't know what to do. And your content makes me feel very seen. But it's not enough, obviously. And I'm reaching out to you for more.
Yeah.
But then as the creator of that message or content, I hit this wall where I'm like, I made this and I put this out there exactly for people like you to see it and to see themselves in it. But I'm not sure that I'm actually capable of carrying the burden of each one of you who reaches out to me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to engage with the idea that it's not my responsibility, obviously. And I don't owe anything to a stranger who just reaches out to me. They're not entitled to my time.
Right.
Also, as a human who has empathy and like cares a lot about people, each one, I see it and it weighs on me, and I don't reply, and then that weighs on me.
I know.
And only recently, I haven't ever replied to a DM on Instagram that's like that. Even like young people from like the UK, but I think about them all the time. But I recently got an email from a student at Yale, a freshman who is experiencing this stuff.
Okay.
And I did reply. It was my first time replying, because there's this young woman who's like totally at a loss and experience and struggling. And unfortunately, unlike me, she was dependent on her, or she is dependent on her parents financially to be able to continue going to the school. So she can't just cut them off, you know? So I replied, and I tried to tell her in the reply also, like, to be honest, I get a lot of messages like these and I don't engage, and I'm only responding to you because, you know, we are so similar in like you're at my alma mater.
That's
like,
the thing.
I'll reply.
Right. Your alma mater, where you got to explore your queerness.
Yeah, right.
Like,
so it's like I want to engage with you, but I'm curious, like, do you reply when people reach out asking for advice? Because I'm really seeking other people's opinions on this.
I know it's really hard because it is that conundrum where it's like I'm honored that you feel so resonant with my work and with my story, but at the same time I'm not your therapist. And it's like people ask you like, how did you move out? How did you move out? Or like, how did you come out? But they're not really asking you how. They're asking you like, how did you let yourself?
Yeah.
How did you let yourself do it? Because they know how.
Yeah.
You know how, right? But
it's also they don't even know how.
But
because,
they don't, yeah.
Because if I really broke it down for you, I'd say, well, it was countless sleepless nights in high school.
That's the thing. It was a decade-long operation.
Yeah, it was
a million little fights.
I've only gotten A's since I was 5 in order to get the money that allowed me this independence.
It's getting to a point where you realize nothing you ever do will ever fucking make them happy ever. This is a losing game.
Oh, but even, oh my God, I mean, just when you say that, like a big fight that I had before I moved out to college between my acceptance and my move out was hearing that my father was going to the mosque and telling people, my son got into Yale. My son's going to Yale. Of course. My son is going to an Ivy League school.
Of course.
Meanwhile, this bitch is making my life a living terror, and I don't fuck with him at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't talk about me to your men. Fuck you. That pissed me off because I was like, oh, now you want to be proud of me? Now you want to be happy?
Dude, but that's so typical. Like my dad did that when I got an internship at IBM. This man day in, day out was like, why do you want to go to IBM? It's an hour drive away. Every day you're going to go an hour. That's so far. No, you're not going to know. You're going to have to say no. If it's the only internship, maybe I'll let you accept. Go apply for more jobs, get whatever. And then one day I was like heading out and I heard him like talking to his friend. He's like, yeah, Salma got IBM internship. I was like, this is the same motherfucker that's trying to stop me from working at the IBM internship? What the hell?
Like, it's so, it's unbelievable. And it is just the product of them seeing you as just a part of them.
Yeah.
They're, because my dad, like, honestly, like, one of the biggest progresses I ever made with my dad was getting him to admit out loud that he never really wanted to be a dad.
Oh, yeah.
He just wanted to have a legacy.
Right.
He like didn't want kids. Because I told him, I was like, you weren't really being a father because you didn't want to. And he was like, yeah, I guess not.
Wow. No, it's so true and real.
I don't want to talk about any of this in so black and white, obviously, because there were beautiful moments of connection with my parents growing up. Like, they did love me in
I
ways
get you.
that
I
they
know the
how
love is
to.
really strong. I know that.
To this day, like and like, you know, it's in the essay, like the cologne I use is a $30 cologne from Ross that my mom would buy my dad.
Right.
My favorite cookie is a black and white cookie because maybe 3 times my dad took me to a cafe with his friends at night and he bought me a black and white cookie. And that became my favorite thing in the world. And it's what I need all the time. The first movie I ever saw was Finding Nemo. And I don't even remember the movie.
Right.
I just remember walking into it next to my dad.
Right.
And like knowing that he was next to me and took me to something.
That movie was the first time I ever saw my mom cry.
It's crazy.
But no, I hear you. I hear you. It's like these little memories, these little mementos too. Like, I only have one shirt from my dad, which I actually lost this year, and I was like sad about it.
Oh, that would kill me.
And yeah, and I have one pearl necklace from my mom. And those are like, yeah, like I have to take them with me everywhere. I have to, like, people don't understand. It's like, just because they're toxic and abusive and you're cutting them off doesn't mean that they weren't your, like, a solar system of feelings and experiences and connections. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the only time I saw my dad cry was as I was being wheeled into the operation for my appendectomy when I had appendicitis. And that was one of the last things I remember before I went under was like, oh my God, my dad's crying.
Yeah, you like me?
Right. It's like, what the hell? Bitch, drive me to soccer practice.
Yeah.
Could you get up and drive me to soccer practice?
Right.
Why am I getting on the bus, bro?
Right.
Like, unbelievable.
Coming out is such a big topic in our community. Our community needs help. They need guidance. We're all trying to figure it out. People want advice, right? They want us to save them. We can't save them. We're barely surviving on our own. My advice is, and we've spoken about it so much in this episode, is number one, get financially independent.
Yeah.
This is everything. This is what's going to give you choice. This is what's going to give you tools and power and the ability to distance yourself from your family, truly, to move out, right? I would say also go to therapy. Like, you need a support system. You can't fight this structure of abuse that you're trauma bonded to on your own.
Yeah. The third one I would add is, if you grew up Muslim and you're struggling with this, understand your religion for yourself. I mean, one of the biggest things for me was this issue, this tension that kept me from probably exploring my queerness for a long time, was believing inherently that it was bad in the eyes of God.
Right.
And I didn't have a choice of whether or not I gave that any credence, because at the end of the day, when we're babies, our brains are incredibly plastic, you know, neuroplasticity, whatever understanding of the universe you are fed, it's going to be really hard to unlearn that.
Right.
Even when it's your own identity that comes into conflict with it.
Right.
One of my brothers, Samir, he's so smart. It pisses me the fuck off. He's so even keeled and he gets along with everyone. He's a genius. When I was beefing with my parents about how they wouldn't accept my queerness, and they were just like holding firm to their understanding of Islam, Samir, he was like, well, Tarek, I mean, it took you a really long time to accept it, and it's literally you that we're talking about. I mean, you think they're just going to be able to do it overnight, and they grew up with their understanding of the world,
right?
And so I was like you need to give them, be more understanding or some time or something. I was like, yes and no, obviously, but all that is to say, like, I had to understand Islam for myself and like read the Quran if you want, I guess, right? And it's like, I identify as a Quranist, right? I don't really believe in hadiths. Okay. What is a hadith? A hadith is that a guy knew a guy who knew a guy's cousin who said that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did this.
Right.
And I'm supposed to believe that gossip? Like, Listen.
Well, to the people who believe in hadith, there is like a science to the chain of narrations, and what you can say was for sure this is a trustworthy person, this one's not, or this one was like, 7 chains of narration versus like someone hearing it directly.
Yeah.
But I understand a lot of Muslims do have these thoughts about hadith.
Yeah, and so I make the choice to just be like, okay, if I'm going to believe in religion, whether it's my choice or some mixture of choice and just the fact that I have this understanding of reality that I'll never be able to undo, the fact that there must be a God or something.
Right.
Like, if the Quran is what this person delivered, I'll read that and I'll see what's in there.
Right.
And ultimately, nowhere in there is it like, don't be gay. You know what's in there? Don't rape people.
Yeah.
Don't be a pedophile. Nowhere does it say don't be gay.
Right.
So that was a big help for me.
Right.
And understanding that there are other people who are also wanting to explore religion and spirituality at the same time as their queerness, and that you're not alone in that, because a lot of religious life is cult-like, and the difficulty of getting out of a cult is meeting people who have brains that think beyond the way your cult thinks.
I know.
And understand that you can do that too.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be black and white. You don't have to abandon your religion. You can reframe it, and you can re-understand it and relearn it, reintroduce yourself to it.
Do you feel like one must abandon their family and their culture though to fully like allow themselves to embrace their queerness?
I don't think you have to abandon your culture, because I think there will always be people who share your culture who are also exploring queerness.
Right.
So you can engage with that with them.
Cool.
In terms of your family, I think if someone is getting in the way of you being happy and healthy and surviving, then rather than abandoning them, which can feel so harsh, like, I think it can be important to put distance. And everything's temporary. Nothing has to be forever. I don't have my parents blocked anymore. We don't talk every day. We don't talk really at all. I have them unblocked for emergencies mostly.
Right.
But like, and when I blocked them and when I cut them off, I did believe that it wasn't going to be forever. Right. I hoped that we would reach some kind of understanding. And actually, like, I had a bad relationship with my parents, similar, I think, to you. It was toxic.
Right.
So it made cutting them off easy.
Right.
There are people out there who have amazing relationships with their families, who feel so loved and supported in every other part of their lives.
Right.
And then they will realize they're queer and come out and be rejected.
Yeah.
And that will be a kind of rejection that hurts so much deeper.
Right.
And is so much more complex than
you didn't
what
see it coming.
Yes, exactly. And so for that, navigating that, I can't speak to that.
Right.
But as far as when shit was bad already, cutting them off honestly did make them realize, like, fuck, we do miss this guy. We do love this guy. We want this guy in some capacity.
Right.
And they're still pretty homophobic, but honestly, I've gotten them to a place where they say, like, yeah, I don't think being gay is right. And I think it's a big sin. And I think that it does make it more difficult to gain access to heaven. But I'm not Allah, so I'm not going to say that any one person is going to hell, because that's not my place.
Oh, great. Yeah. Great.
Isn't that progress? If you are Muslim and you are bi and you are thinking about coming out to your family, just tell them you're gay. Because me being bi and telling my parents that I was bi created so many more issues.
Right. They had hope.
They have hope. And they also are like, so then you could choose to be with a woman. Right. Why be with a guy? And they hold out for this stuff in like a toxic way, that if I had just said I was gay, we could have skipped like a lot of steps and done a lot of processing maybe early on.
Right, because they were bargaining.
Right, they were bargaining. They were doing all this shit. It was crazy. And now it's, oh my God, it's so weird. Because now whenever I am seeing a woman, it's like, I don't even let them know.
Yeah.
I don't even let them know.
They'll go crazy.
They'll go crazy.
They'll go nuts.
So
it's like giving crack cocaine.
Yes.
Okay, I do want to get really explicit for a split second, and you don't obviously have to answer.
You can ask me anything, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question about being top, bottom, or verse.
Yeah.
Being bottom, I think that's like that is vulnerable. Like my friend who tops, for instance, he only bottoms like once in a while, and it's only when he meets a man that he really, really, really trusts. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I have vaginismus, which is that I have like a clinically tight vagina where it's like resistance to surrender and to letting a stranger into my body. And I'm thinking that because some men, they also have that resistance with their bum hole when they're being topped.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm wondering if it's the same fear that is constricting basically our holes.
Yeah, I mean, what I could say to that is sexual oppression of sexuality and repression of sexuality is going to affect everything. It's going to affect how you identify. It's going to affect how you engage with people and how you have sex. And I think with the whole like top bottom verse thing, and everyone's like, oh, what are you? Or I want to know, or guessing that. It's like we are so addicted to categories and labels and making sex science when like the biggest thing that people need to learn is how to relate to someone emotionally, romantically, and sexually. And if you put that first, if you are first just seeking a vibe and seeking a connection and a dynamic that excites you, then you get the esteemed pleasure of figuring out those dynamics with the person in real time.
Right.
Like you can only imagine how many people miss out on a connection that might be meaningful to them because two people on their profiles both have bottom, and so then they both just pass.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so I would focus more for anybody who is wondering, they're like, am I a top? Am I a bottom? Like, do I have shame with any of those things? Figure out where the shame is coming from.
Right.
Get to a place where you just love yourself in general, and then prioritize meeting people who affirm you in that and who make you feel loved or desired or sexualized, and then follow what feels good and work it out in real time. That's the best thing you can do with sex, is work it out in real time.
Work it out in real time is the best sexual advice ever, because you can yap and intellectualize yourself around in circles. Like nothing's actually going to happen.
And be safe. Work it out in real time in a safe way.
Of course.
Communicating in real time, talking in real time, checking in real time.
Yeah. But like basically being engaged with a real life person is really everything. Briefly coming out publicly, like it is kind of a privilege. It is kind of like a white privilege, but we have white privilege because we're living in a white country where we're not gonna like get killed for being out, right?
Hopefully.
And yeah, hopefully. I mean, as of now, who knows?
Yeah.
And in the Middle East, like I wouldn't say they would get killed, but like you can be in trouble and you can't kind of take it back, and you can be socially canceled in a brutal way. That's why reputation really does matter over there. Do you think it's like necessary? I have a friend who's refusing to come out to his family. He lives like here, and he's almost intolerable to be around anymore. His social anxiety is consuming. He's really restless.
Yeah.
Versus our other friend who's come out for years now, and he did go through his journey with his family where they didn't talk for a bit, whatever. And now he's like, you know, doing gay roles, blah, blah, blah. He's also a performer. And his family's so supportive and whatever. And this guy's like a bright light sunshine. This other guy's like driving himself into the ground. Like, literally I can see like someone imploding mentally and spiritually. But
what do you say to them?
It's not my fucking business if they come out or not.
Yeah, I mean ultimately, yes. You have to make decisions that prioritize your safety, and safety exists at so many axes of like your mental health safety and your safety to yourself, and then also your physical safety and your surroundings. And if your environment is not safe to come out in, you have to decide whether you want to stay there for other meaningful reasons or if you can leave.
Right.
And if you feel like you can't leave and you need to stay there for XYZ reason, and it would be unsafe to come out, then the best thing you can do is build true, meaningful community with other people maybe having the same experience. I mean, yeah, it's complicated in these Muslim countries, but we know that it exists. I mean, one of the most like moving and like really affecting things was seeing all of the messages that came out between queer Palestinians in Gaza. Yeah, and just showing how many relationships there were that were holding people up and holding people together in this primarily Muslim country.
Yeah.
And so it exists, and it's important to find
I have
community.
goosebumps, by the way, at the memory of that.
I see like the map of it. It's just so.
And the messages. And that's why
Yeah.
I feel like queerness is also so pure, because it's being simultaneously used by the West to weaponize and to justify their war crimes.
Yeah.
But it's also like so pure, and queerness in and of itself, movement or not, it exists, and it'll always be at the grassroots, and you can never kill it. You can never get rid of it, because it's just an expansive portal. It's like the opportunity to do everything.
Yeah, and queerness exists in so many ways, and I'm definitely someone who prescribes to the idea that like if you're queer, no matter what other part of you're existing in, like you matter and you are important. Like if you're a queer conservative Republican, I'm still going to care about your right to be queer.
Right.
I know there are some people in the community who are like queerness is a political stance and exists like beyond just who you have sex with or date.
Right.
I think because of my material circumstances where I came out of, like I don't see it that way. And so it's like, yeah, queerness is so expansive.
Right.
Whether you're in a straight relationship or a gay relationship or whatever, whether you're conservative, liberal, wherever you are in the world, like it matters and it's significant, and it's important to hold that up and value it in the ways that are safe and meaningful.
Totally. Absolutely. Tarek, thank you so much for this. I would also say, side note, if you can do it safely, maybe try MDMA, try a heart opener. I never feel more gay than when I'm on MDMA because I see everyone as they truly are, which is just souls. And then I'm focused on the connection, like you said.
No comment on that. For sure, no comment on that. But I love
Possibly try a heart opener, but in a safe environment, maybe with a therapist first. Okay, thank you so much. Where can our viewers and listeners find you
Thank
online?
you. You can find me at Tarek Ziad. So Tarek Ziad. Middle name is Ahmed. That's why there's an A there.
Hell yeah.
And I have a Substack called Perfect Information where I write essays about my life, about stuff like this.
Love.
I'll be publishing more essays about growing up with my family, my dynamics. I mean, it's everything I write about is personal nonfiction. So
Perfect.
I think you might find something meaningful in there, hopefully.
Love, love, love. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Secret Sex Lives of Muslim Women. If you resonated with Tarek's story, and if you want to tell your own story, please email us at thesecretlivesofmuslimwomen@gmail.com. And please rate the pod on Spotify, Apple. Why do I have 24 ratings, huh?
Yeah, I saw that. That's fucked
My
up.
numbers are insane. I
Yeah.
have millions and millions of views. I have 24 What is that? How's that going to get me sponsors? You guys want more? I need everybody to go rate and go like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Charity, a pillar of Islam.
You guys, if you have no money, invest in me with your social clout, which is your likes.
It's zakat, actually, to leave a review.
It is. And we're actually invoicing you. Okay. So thank you so much. This episode was recorded in Manhattan, and we'll see you next episode. Bye.
Bye.